received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, hello, Mr. Handsome. Oh, yeah, the heat is quite spectacular. Yeah, but they're blaming it all on global warming. So I guess people who like the heat don't mind the global warming, but to me, weather's weather. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on this planet, and very little we can do to stop it unless we all come together. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. At least we have air conditioning and heaters and, a way to get away a little bit. You guys are just kind of stuck there. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad the family's doing okay, and I'm glad you're holding out to the best of your ability. Well, yeah. You, okay, here's the way I see it. Crime goes on every day, and there's a lot of stuff out there that I would like to keep track of. I mean, yeah, there's people that are using high capacity weapons to kill people, and there's police officers that get a little out of hand because of the situation. But there's things that's behind the scenes as well. It's like we're turning against police officers, but I'm willing to say that across the world, police officers are doing a fantastic job that's not reported. It's like a thankless job. When I was in law enforcement, I didn't get thank yous for everything that I did. But if something went wrong, heaven forbid, they're all over that. You know how that happens out here. And to condemn, it's just like the Vietnam War, to condemn the military for doing their job, for trying to protect America and trying to follow the orders of their government, that just to me doesn't quite fit. And there's still kidnappings going on. There's still assaults going on. There's still robbery and theft and identity theft is going on and drug deals. And the world is full of terrible things. And we just concentrate on like one thing at a time. If a woman comes up missing and then later on she's found murdered, then that seems to be the big news item. And then once people get bored with that, they move on to something else. And, you of all people, you would know, sitting there in prison, if somebody is just discouraged and feeling down in their life, uh, there's a good chance this person's going to watch the news. And, this is making headlines. And if I want to get attention, if I want to die by suicide, by having law enforcement kill me or something like that, yeah, that's the thing to see, and we're pushing that. You turn on the news, you see that. And I think if people turn on the news and they saw good stuff, I think we would have a better chance of bringing peace. If you were constantly broadcasting negative
You have
news,
60 seconds remaining.
what do you expect? That's right. That's right. Prison should concentrate on the good. You guys, I mean, if you're going to censor anything, censor out all the negative stuff that goes on. Put nothing but positive stuff in there. Citizen rescues a dog from the lake, or a little boy revives his sister after she has an
You
accident.
have 30 seconds remaining.
Right. Yeah. That's what we need to do. And we need to get people out there that will share good, positive stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I think the only place you can find it is in church. Good, good. I'm glad you're sharing it with your cellmates and with the people out here. Keep it up. Yeah, I'll definitely do the best I can, and I'll broadcast the stuff. It's just that we need to talk. Welcome to a QS Inmate Call, and I am your host, Joel Wilborn, and that's a little conversation about current events, the news. And as a student of journalism, there's some things that I learned when I was in school, and it's not applying to today. It's like it's just kind of been thrown to the side. I know when I was looking for stories and stuff to report on, there was an old saying that when a dog bites a man, it's not news because it happens all the time. But when a man bites a dog, that's news. That's something to write about. You want to do something that's out of the ordinary. And the news media, they can really influence a lot of people, especially when it's used for propaganda. We often hear in like communist countries or something where leaders would keep out the news that would criticize the government or techniques or something that they use, and concentrate on the things that the government does, and it was just kind of putting that spin on it. And I'm not a big fan of that. I think all news should be out there, but I also believe in a balance. You know, in a dictatorship, if they're broadcasting the government's doing fantastic stuff, and your leader's healthy and alert and a very smart person who can bring us out of all of this poverty, if you're constantly hearing that, you're being brainwashed. But if they'll throw a little something in there in the mix, you know, like a foreign leader came over here and we want to open up a relationship with these countries we considered our enemy, that would kind of spice things up a little bit. And it would also give a little more trust to the government. And so I know there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on, but the news shouldn't be like a 30-minute broadcast, shouldn't be 30 minutes of bad news. Likewise, it shouldn't be 30 minutes of good news. It's just that you got to look for when the man bites the dog. And there's people out there who really take this stuff seriously. We've contributed some attacks out there on things people say on social media or even recent news events. It's very rare, you know, that a cult leader or a close relative or admired coach or something can rally a bunch of people to go out and commit a series of crimes. That stuff that you read about, see in movies, you just don't hear about it too often out there. And it's not to say it doesn't happen. We just don't get that shown to us when we're seeking information of the world. And one of the things that I don't like is when rights are being taken away. And when you take away rights, yeah, you're taking them away from the potential criminals. And you're taking them away from responsible citizens. But you are not taking them away from criminals. Because criminals are criminals by nature because they don't follow the rules. They don't follow laws. And if you tell them you're not allowed to have an assault weapon, that doesn't mean that they're just going to say, oh, well, I guess I got to find another way to go kill people. That means they're going to find an assault weapon. and telling them what they can't do is for sometimes it's a motivator for them. And I would think that if I want to make the news, and all I saw on the news was that the people that everybody admired were heroes. The firefighter that risked his life to save a cat from a burning building, or the Boy Scout who performed CPR on a woman who was found passed out in the mall. It's if we see that a lot, and we see that being that type of a hero gets you on the news, then we'll expect that, and that would be something that we would feel comfortable doing, being a hero and making the news. And a lot of the kids today, there's a lot they've been through, and there's a lot going on, just negative. And it's hard to find anything to rally around. There's really nothing out there that we could just stand behind and push forward without it being criticized by other people, or without it being ignored. And I want to try to change that. I want to try to fix it so that there's something that we can rally around. I was thinking, patriotism is something that's good. Proud to be an American, and wanting to help the homeless, or get homeless children, homeless animals, homeless pets, homeless neighbors. Help all these folks to get back into accommodating lodgings, a comfortable place to live, get them food. Around Christmas time is a great time where we see a whole bunch of community action and things coming together. Those things we should concentrate on. And it doesn't always mean that everybody likes to watch the news about police brutality. If you really sit down and think about it, that's nothing new. It's been going on for centuries. It's just that now people figure that let's talk about this in the news, instead of sex trafficking, or illegal drugs, or the identity theft, car jacking, murder. These things are not big news items anymore, unless something major happens. If a government official or a celebrity or something gets caught up in these, then suddenly it's like, wow, a person was drunk driving. Yeah, that's new. Drunk driving's now making the news. What? No, it's a matter of there's a lot of stuff that we're just forgetting about, and I don't want people to forget about how human rights are being violated within the walls of prison. There's a lot of women that are really being treated terrible in these facilities, and they're just not important because, for one thing, we're making criminals out to be a burden to our society, and that they need to be eliminated. So when you see the news talking about this person who commits a crime, and then somebody comes along and says that women are being mistreated in the prison, it's more like, oh, aren't you the one that was out here committing the crimes? Aren't you one of the bad guys, the ones we need to lock away? The truth is, they need to be they need attention. They need somebody to work with them to help them appreciate what they have and appreciate the rights and responsibilities of other people, because we lead by example. And if we're constantly bombarding people with negative stuff, you don't have to be a genius to realize the effect of that. It's not good. And just let's look at it like this. Let's say you turn on the news and you see these people, usually they're young folks, going into a school, and usually they're carrying a weapon like a AK-47. Now that's a pretty powerful weapon, but it's not the most powerful weapon out there. So if a young man grabs an AK-47 because he saw it on the news, and that's most likely why people are picking up these weapons, because they're bombarded with it in their mind. It's like an advertising campaign. If you constantly hear about a soft drink over and over, and somebody's finally going to be walking in the store and say, what should I get? Oh, and in their mind, since they've heard it every day, is this particular soft drink, and I'll pick it up. You're in a store, it's like, what kind of weapon are you interested in? Oh, an AK-47, because it's in the mind. Thank goodness they're not thinking about the FN SCAR and the FNC. And these are powerful weapons. So if a person goes into a school with an AK-47 and a security guard shows up with an FN SCAR, that's going to blow this person's mind, for one. And, a responsible owner of an assault weapon, a responsible owner of a pistol, a responsible owner of a knife, or even a slingshot, could do a lot of damage. These people are trained. They know how to use them. They know how to properly store them, carry them, maintain them. And so when trained people, like usually military or law enforcement, come upon a scene, you should feel comfortable. You should feel safe that these people know what they're doing. And yeah, there are times where people show up and they have a weapon, and they're a responsible person, and a person decides to commit a crime with a weapon and gets taken out. They could be breaking into somebody's house. You don't know whose house you're breaking into. You don't know how well these people are trained. But if we broadcast that, the schools have these weapons in them, the SCAR maybe, and the people in the mall have ex-military patrolling the halls. This is something that's going to discourage folks. You don't see a lot of people attacking prisons, and you don't see a lot of people attacking military bases or even firing ranges. So let's change our train of thought here. When you watch a news broadcast and you see things, think there's an opposite side of this story. Like they say, every dark cloud has a silver lining. There's always a second part to the story. And the best way to become educated, the best way to feel comfortable about what you hear and what you see and what you read, is to do a little bit of research. It won't kill you, especially today. You can do Google searches and Bing searches, and you can even ask friends, start up a conversation. Get a little bit more information. Don't just take everything as you first hear it, as it's true and accurate, and there's nothing else to it. Why is the AK-47 the evil weapon? Are there others out there? Is it right to take it away from people who are well trained and know how to use it? How many of them are there in the households out there? Which one of your neighbors have them? How would you feel sitting in a public place and the law enforcement people had a powerful weapon? And what would be your solution? It's easy to complain about stuff, but it's harder to complain and offer a better suggestion, something that will work. And I don't want prisons to just drop out, unless of course they're closing. Then I'm happy. But there's people sitting in there who just didn't get all the information. They took it for face value. They heard it. They believed it. It's like the Christian phrase, he said it, I believe it, and that's that. Let's question things now. There's no shame in learning a little bit more. Kids are great because they grow up and they're sponges. They want to learn as much as they can. We need to give them the right answer. Maybe a child will ask, why is everybody so against the AK-47? Why do these people use the AK-47? What do you know about it? You know what it means? You know what it is? You know what an assault weapon is? You know what a machine gun is? You realize that these things have been around since around World War I? And they've been shooting up people. I mean, you could look at gangster movies from the 40s, and they're driving up the road with their little machine guns, the Tommy guns. They did that for a long time. And that made news because it was something new, but it didn't make it all the time. And our job as parents and as mentors is to give the full story. And to get the full story, you're going to have to do some research. Let's not forget about the women that come into this country and they're excited. They want to learn new skills. They want to earn money, take advantage of capitalism, and they want to make a better life for themselves, and then they just get sold into slavery. And let's not forget about the children that are plucked out of their beds or abused by relatives or friends, people they trust. Let's not forget about them. It goes on every day. It's not just politicians trying to gain the upper hand. It's not just AK-47s. And it's certainly not human rights that are taken away or added. It's basic human necessities. Life. Just a simple life. And it's really not that hard for us to get it. We got to work together. And so I want to try to emphasize prison life and what goes on in there. Please tune into the Joel Wilborn channel on YouTube. Take a look at my Oxyword interviews. These folks are giving you advice, passing on information to help you help other people not commit crimes. If we can get one person not to commit a crime, and we won't know it until peace starts coming to our neighborhood. You don't know how many people you save. You'll save nobody if you don't share your wisdom and you don't share your insights with other folks. You don't even open up a conversation. You're not going to help anyone. You just may help one or two simply by talking about it, simply by asking questions. Communication is going to help us fight crime, not taking away rights. Women not being able to have an abortion in their state. Federal government, I'm not that big on, but the states that's where the people decided. And if the people say a woman should be able to have an abortion, then let them have an abortion in that state, because that's what the people want. And if the state says no, but our neighbor state does, don't impede them. Let them go over to that other state. If it means that much to them, they'll take that trip. They'll go over there. But there's no reason to take away the rights of everybody out there. And when we give them rights, let's let them keep them. And especially the people that are responsible. There are people out there who know how to use weapons. There are people out there who know how not to get pregnant. And then there's the exception. And we need to work with those folks. We need to help those folks. A lot of them are in prison, where we can actually sit them in a classroom, sit them with counselors, sit them with coaches, motivators, and teach them to use what they already have to live a life that they feel comfortable with. And hopefully it's crime-free. Once again, AmericanQuittanceSociety.org, Oxyword on YouTube. I highly encourage you to listen to those interviews and share that information. We can do this. We can work together and we can fight this. There's no reason to be filling up prisons. Let's fill up our neighborhoods and our schools and our charitable organizations and do good. It's not that hard. And it may take some time, but it's worth it. It is definitely worth it. So, thanks for tuning in. Go out, have yourself a wonderful day, and make beautiful memories for tomorrow.